Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Expendable Show. It's Wednesday, and there's news to cover. We're going to cover it. We're going to cover it today. Shauna's in the studio with us doing something right now. She's probably cooking with Kaya, because that's what I would be doing. But if you like my show, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. And don't forget, go buy my book, The Swiss Effect. It's right here. Right here. Switzerland flag on there. The Swiss Effect. And my other book, in case you want to read some old stuff, it's called From the Mouth. I had to look and read. I forgot what my other book was called. That's sad. Maybe I'm related to the Bidens or something. I got dementia. Where's my auto pen? I need my auto pen to start signing stuff for me. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to check the stats. Zelensky holding his approval rating at 72%. Prime Minister race, Mark Carney has slipped ahead of Pierre Bleu. 30. So he's up by 0.3% on the Republic or on the conservative candidate, Pierre. I mean, obviously, I would be willing to bet either Pierre's not a very strong candidate or the media has taken over Canada, which is probably both the case. So let's go into the more important stuff that has to do with us. Trump, his approval rating, according to the RCP average, is 47.8%, which is he's kind of holding around there. Egg prices, let's look at egg prices. So 2024 average was $4.15. We are now down to $4.95 on average for a dozen. So we're getting there. I think it was like 6 or 7 just a few weeks ago. So we're dropping like flies. We got eggs. Yep. There's cooking with Kaya. Gas prices continue. Yeah. There you go, Shauna. You get your fame. You get a dance on my show. This is a no dancing show. Just kidding. You can dance on my show. It's my show. You can do whatever you want. There's no censoring. If you want to dance, you can dance. Okay, so gas prices continue to go down. $3.30 a gallon under Sleepy Joe. And we are down to $3.02 a gallon on average. So Trump's already dropped the gas prices 28 cents a gallon. So we're looking over the course of a year, that's significant savings that's going to put money in the pockets of everyday working class Americans. So we like that. Good job, Trump. And today he's meeting with the oil executives. So I'd be willing to bet a deal's getting made. This is what I keep telling everybody. The difference between Biden and Trump is Trump made a deal with the oil markets. He is doing that right now. We're going to see the gas prices go down again. Significantly. They're probably going to knock about at least 40 cents a gallon off. Watch. I'm calling it right now. I didn't figure out the whole gas thing. My full-time job is in the oil-based business. So I pay attention to the price of a barrel of oil all the time. So I kind of know what the markets react to a little bit. And Trump's about to change the game here like any day. You're going to see oil prices he's going to restrict their ability to mark up and gouge, and that's going to be the end of it. We're all going to see gas prices below probably 350 a gallon or 250 a gallon on average, probably. And here in the South, we're cheaper than up north. So our average gas price here. So while the nation is at 308, down here in the South, we're at 278 on average. So if we're probably going to be like right around $2 a gallon here pretty soon. I know, right? Hallelujah. As much as we sit in traffic in Metro Atlanta and burn gas and like create smog and you would think that they would want to do something a little bit more efficient. I don't know. They keep catching all Elon Musk's electric cars on fire, so we can't get electric cars anymore.
As long as we're not getting back to where Shauna's paying almost $60 for gas again, we're good. We're good. I'll take anything under that.
Listen, you need to put the knife down. That's what first thing you need to do. Get on here and start yelling with a knife in your hand. That's like I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe at all.
I'm the non-working flag. Sorry.
So mortgage rates. 2024 average mortgage rates under Sleepy Joe, 6.7%. Today, they are 6.42%. And that is according to Zillow. So if you don't like my stats, go yell at Zillow. But the most important stat this week, I'm adding it to the week's stat watch, is the Democrats' approval rating is at 27%. So there you go. Those of you that are religiously and loyally following Chuck Schumer and AOC and Make It Burn Bernie and Pocahontas and all them crazy lunatics, they're going to lead you right off the cliff. This is a United States of America Democrat Party record low approval for the Democrats. They have never been this low in the history of the Democrat Party. They had a higher approval rating when they created the Ku Klux Klan. So there you go. That shows you how bad of an idea it is. Democrats have no base. They have no leadership. They have no plan. They're a mess. They're a mess. And their only game plan right now is to just push back on everything Trump's trying to do. They don't have a plan of their own. It's just resist Trump. That's the Democrats' game plan. And I think a lot of voters are going, why am I voting for you when your only plan is to resist the president? Why don't you get your asses back in Congress and figure out what your constituency wants and try to come up with some legislation that'll benefit your constituency? So, instead they're trying to get these like half-hearted coups going, which is they're at 27%. You can see the results from the American people of what the result is of that 27% approval rating. This is going to hurt them. We have midterms in a year and 7 months, a year and 8 months. So are they going to do some damage control before then? Because 27% is not going to win them any midterm seats. And you're going to see a much larger majority of the Republicans. So, I mean, I'm not trying to help the Democrats get their shit together, but I'm tired of hearing them standing on soapboxes every day talking about nothing. Same old every day. Same old. They have zero originality. I could not. If I was a Democrat, I would have gave up on them by now. Like that's like being a Browns fan for 20 years. You know you're going to lose. No matter how much you do or how many shiny things you bring to the team, at the end of the day, you're still going to lose. Sorry, I know some of my friends out there are Browns fans, but it's the truth. So yeah, it's like being a Browns fan, or maybe like a Washington Wizards fan for you basketball people,
or an Atlanta Falcons fan.
The Falcons almost make the playoffs every once in a while.
That almost is not a win. What did Ricky Bobby say? If you're not first, you're last. So there we go. Never won. They go in that category too.
Shauna's words of wisdom today. I like that. If you're not first, you're last. I pretty much live my life by that anyway, so that works. I collect trophies. I got called a Nazi fascist, white supremacist a couple of days ago by some crazy Karen in Colorado. And I just kept telling her, well, thank you for the compliment. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad you pointed out my narcissism. It really helps me out when you point out how much I like myself. She just kept getting more and more mad, and then pretty soon she was just full-blown calling me all kinds of names. It was exciting. I try not to trigger people, but I just accidentally have that kind of personality that just triggers people to be angry at me. I don't know. And it was a woman. I just don't have good luck with women, so must be something I'm doing wrong. Okay, today's show, we're going to talk about the updates of the Russia-Ukraine situation. A lot's happened since Monday, so we're going to cover that. So, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday ordered his military to adhere to a 30-day ceasefire on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, but he did not extend it to the active front lines or civilian populations. So he's not going to bomb nuclear power plants or the electric grid or things like that. So, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. It's not exactly what I wanted to see, but it's progress. It's better than nothing. So Putin made a statement, and he said the blood and treasure that both Ukraine and Russia have been spending in this war would be better spent on the needs of their people. The White House said in a press release following the 90-minute phone call between Putin and Trump, the leaders agreed that the movement to peace will begin with an energy and infrastructure ceasefire, as well as technical negotiations or implementation. Hey, what's up, Rob? What's up, man? The conservatives are losing in the polls. Pierre needs to get it together. He needs to do something like Trumpy or something. But they also did a maritime ceasefire, and they want a maritime ceasefire in the Black Sea. A full-time ceasefire and permanent peace is the ultimate goal. So there's some reports that led up the call that suggests that Trump intended to push Putin to agree to unconditional ceasefire. As he refused to engage with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. Volodymyr is like the gay Harry Potter wizard, the bad guy. Was his name? His name was Voldemir, wasn't it? Shauna, you know, you're a Gen Zer or a Gen whatever.
I'm a millennial. I'm not a Gen Z. There's a difference.
All right, well, you're a young Gen Z.
I'm not a Gen Z. I go in the category of millennials.
All right, well, you're a young millennial. So what's what's that evil wizard's name? Voldemort. It was Voldemort.
Will you talk or Draco Malfoy? Well,
no, not Draco Malfoy. That's the stupid kid that the Eminem would be. He was the Eminem wizard.
And first of all, just because, you know, that's within my age range, I've never even seen Harry Potter. I don't know.
How are you in your 20s and you've never seen Harry Potter?
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
It's like the wimpiest wizard movie ever.
What'd I just say? My parents wouldn't let me watch it. They said it was
I'm pretty sure.
And they refused to let me watch it.
Harry Potter's a PG movie.
It's not PG. It's not, actually. It's statistically factual that the spells that they use on the movie are actual real. So my parents did me right. They were protecting me from all the mess.
All right, let me try this one. Crapus your Panthicus. No.
I'm getting out of here. Rob, I couldn't, they wouldn't let me read or watch the movies. It was just not happening. My dad was a deacon, so they were heavily in the church, and they said it was witchcraft. They refused. So at this point, I never just dove into it. It's no point at this point. I'm too old.
You're not too old. I've seen all the Harry Potter movies.
Apparently, I would be a Hufflepuff.
A what?
I don't know.
No, you're definitely Slytherin.
I ain't no damn Slytherin. They all look greasy and like untrustworthy people. I look nothing like that.
Yeah. You'd be right there with Draco Malfoy.
Rob said
you'd be Gryffindor for sure. I think that was the one Harry Potter was in. Harry Potter was Gryffindor, I think.
I know he was a Gryffindor, yeah. His parents were too, I believe. I don't know. I know a little bit about it, but not a whole lot. But yeah.
Anyway, what were we doing? We're talking about the news. How did we get on Harry Potter?
I don't know. You asked me about freaking Harry Potter. I don't know. Anyway, Zelensky sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Zelensky, Voldemort. So so they're basically refusing to deal with Zelensky or Zelensky's refusing to do anything until Putin makes a real effort towards peace. So whatever. After the call, Trump posted on Truth Social, "My phone call conversation today with President Putin of Russia was a very good and productive one. We agreed to an immediate ceasefire on all energy and infrastructure with an understanding that we will be working quickly to have a complete ceasefire and ultimately an end to this very horrible war between Russia and Ukraine. That process is now in full force and effect, and we will hopefully, for the sake of humanity, get the job done." Rob, you know what? I'm going to go back to that because you're my expert Canadian. So when I looked up polls today, like obviously since I first started covering the polls on my show, Carney's like drastically caught up. And so I tuned that to one thing. So according to the polls from one of the Canadian media outlets, I don't know the Canadian media outlets enough to know what polls are good and which ones suck, but they've got Carney up 37.7% to Pierre at 37.4%. So they've got Carney leading by 0.3% now. So I figure, I don't know, because I don't know if it's probably a little bit that Pierre's a bad candidate, and the liberal media, I'm sure in Canada, the liberals run your media as well. So you're probably getting the media, polls where, the whole time, Kamala Harris was like neck and neck with Trump, and then the election happened and she got blown out. So literally. So I don't know. Maybe not. I just hope an upset happens and we can get somewhere with that. So the Ukraine last week agreed to immediately start a ceasefire upon Russia's agreement. Zelensky again voiced skepticism Monday night over whether Putin was actually interested in ending the war. So I get it between these two. They're both like kind of weary of each other, which rightfully so. I mean, you're in a war and you don't know if somebody's bluffing or if they're telling the truth, or is this just a distraction from something? There's a lot of cloak and dagger going on in this war. So it's hard to tell how this is going to pan out. But I think having mediation in there where Trump says, look, it doesn't matter what either one of you feel about each other. Once you lock it in with me, it's locked in. So I think that's something that when they get together, they're going to lock in some of these things with Trump, where Trump can hold them both accountable if they violate any terms of the ceasefire. So Zelensky made a quote. He said, "Now, almost a week later, it's clear to everyone in the world, even to those who refuse to acknowledge the truth for the past 3 years, that it is Putin who continues to drag out this war." So we're already, he's already kind of saber rattling there, which I don't believe anything Zelensky says. I think he's a snake. So there is a woman who's very, very in tune. She's a contributor on many of the media outlets, and her name's Rebecca Koffler, and she's Russian, and so she knows what's going on over there. She pays close attention to it. She said the Russian readout is a typical diplomatic talk by the Kremlin with a lot of fluff in it. The only tangible and significant commitment that Putin made is to stop the strikes on Ukrainian critical infrastructure. The key point of Putin's playbook, though, is the mutual refusal of the parties to the conflict to strike these facilities. So, hi, Jenny Lynn. So we have, she basically didn't say anything that we couldn't have read ourselves. in between when you decipher all the statements that have been made. Yeah, Putin's going to be hesitant too because it's a problem, and he doesn't trust Zelensky. Zelensky doesn't trust him. They're trying to work. It sounds like they're actually trying to get to maybe a little bit of peace or a few steps, but they're still keeping contingencies on the back burner just in case one of them screws the other one over. So, I mean, that's just how it's going to be until Trump really gets in there and sits them both down. She also went on to say, I don't rule out the possibility that Russia may violate this commitment and claim that Ukrainians did that first. So we're looking at like false flag situations, which is I think Zelensky will do that before Russia will. But she said, at least on the surface, the deal does look like a positive step in the right direction. Putin also agreed to a 175 prisoner swap with Ukraine. That includes 23 seriously wounded Ukrainian servicemen currently being treated in Russian hospitals. They'll be turned over to Ukraine in a gesture of goodwill from the Kremlin. So that's something. Get some of these Ukrainians back over there. Putin also said that following Trump's appeal to save the lives of Ukrainian forces bogged down in the Kursk region, he has been guided by humanitarian considerations and will allow for their surrender. Decent treatment to the soldiers. So basically, Putin's saying if you surrender in the Kursk region, then you can go home. If not, game on. He says this is part of the existing international law mandated by the United Nations Geneva Convention, which nobody seems to follow anymore, so I don't know why he's citing that. So Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, he put out a statement. He said that National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and Secretary of State Marco Rubio will travel to Saudi Arabia on Sunday to discuss the details of Tuesday's agreement between the two leaders. Shauna, what do you believe? Who would you trust more in this situation, Putin or Zelensky?
Neither. Neither. But also at the same time,
that's fair.
I mean, yeah, I would trust neither. I mean, literally neither. But I would be more open-minded to what Putin was presenting or speaking or willing to speak about more so than Zelensky.
Putin did reject the full ceasefire.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have rejected the whole ceasefire as well, especially when you have somebody who is not really trying to do a ceasefire, and we can all see that Zelensky isn't trying to do that for his numerous reasons. So yeah, I wouldn't have agreed to a ceasefire either, because in order to do a ceasefire, what's that? Kenzo.
I mean, I agree with Colin. Colin basically said that when it comes to the Geneva Convention, the United States, and this is how it is in every war, the United States of America always follows the rules all the time, where nobody else follows any rules of engagement. Nobody follows the Geneva Convention. We're the only ones who follow that stuff. So let's just scrap it and stop worrying about it.
Because, I mean, isn't that part of the European policy anyways? Who gives a shit? Aren't we pulling from them?
Well, kind of, sort of. It was more of a global thing. It's not just exclusive to Europe, but I mean, it kind of applies across the board. It's supposed to anyway, except for maybe in like Africa.
Yeah, but I just feel like we've been getting screwed over on every end. Like, why should we have to abide by anything at this point? I think we just fed up. Like, let us just have our one. Let us act up. Let us get our anger and frustration out. Then maybe we can sit down and start acting like we have sense again. But right now, I just feel like we should be able to do it.
You have to have rules to some certain extent, because what you have to have a boundary. Because if you have one country like Ukraine, they think they're right. Russia, they think they're right. If you take the rules off the table, Ukraine's going to be gone. Russia will wipe them out in a week. But if you leave the guidelines in there, then there's room for peace. There's room to say, hey, don't cross these lines, and you'll be all right. So I think that you've got to have a standard in there. And Russia has been somewhat following standards because they're only attacking so far into Ukraine. They can hit Kiev anytime they want. And every once in a while they'll hit some like lightly populated little building and do some damage. But they could with the Oreshnik that they have now, that bomb's nasty. I've seen them test fire that thing on YouTube. I don't want no part of that. That thing basically blows up the ground underneath you and just it impacts like an upside down mushroom. It's like Colin said, U.S. following the Geneva Convention gives the bad guys incentive to surrender. Yeah, you know what? I forgot about that aspect of it. That way they don't get torched, which is valid, because if a country does too much to us and we've been playing by the rules and they unleash our military on and say, hey, we're tired of getting cheap shotted by these guys, go ahead and turn it up a little bit on them. Those guys don't want that. They don't want the United States military to turn up on them. That's not going to work out for them. It never will. That's why I kind of wish the cartels would turn up a little bit, because I want them to feel the wrath and see, hey, you guys ain't nothing. You're nothing. We have a special unit for, like, you could stick a unit of Rangers in there and probably wipe them out. You only need to put the Navy SEALs in there. So what Zelensky is wanting in this whole Russia thing, so he says it would be right for the world to respond to Russia by rejecting any attempts by Putin to prolong the war. Because Tuesday Russia did fire a drone. They fired drones over there, so they don't really like that all that well. Russia made the deal, then the deal didn't get solidified, and now Russia got a couple of drone strikes off. So Zelensky's wanting sanctions and like some restrictions on Russia until they, it says only a real cessation of strikes on civilian infrastructure by Russia as proof its willingness to end the war can bring peace to close. So he's wanting them to stop doing that so they can get this peace thing done. I don't know if that's, Zelensky just saying what he wants to say. It's hard to tell with these guys until they actually both sit down with Trump. I don't believe anything that's coming out of either one of their mouths. There is no mention of the 20,000 Ukrainian children that are in Russia to be returned. So I'm going to be watching that. Ukraine is saying they're forcibly abducted largely in the Luhansk and Donetsk area, which that wouldn't make sense to me unless he's just getting them out of the way. I'm not going to sit here and stick up for Putin, but I know the situation of what the Ukraine's been lying about this whole time. And for them to say, oh, Russia took 20,000 children, I think Russia probably pulled them out of that region so we don't have a bunch of dead kids in the news, which I would do the same thing if I was in a war, especially that region right there is dominant Russia support areas. Putin's already made it clear Ukraine should not be allowed to join NATO, which the Trump administration has also backed over their concerns. It would not only perpetuate, but escalate the nature of Russia's war. Europe needs to stay out of this. That's flat out. I need Europe to just go back over to Europe. Trump's got this under control. We don't need you coming in there, throwing your little bit of demands in there on top of this, because Europe and Barack Obama is pretty much the primary reasons why this happened. Also, Europe is trying to keep peacekeeping troops in there. I'm 100% against that. I don't trust any European country doing anything in Ukraine. So for them to put their troops in there is almost like them, in my opinion, occupying Ukraine, which I don't like that. If Ukraine wants to be their own country, I'm fine with that. But having Europe in there with what's at stake in that country. I don't like it at all. There's other complicated things in this that need to be addressed. For instance, you have the Western arms supplies that are happening over there. The United States and other European countries are giving Ukraine supplies and arms. You also have the international observance of Russian occupied lands, Ukraine's future security, Ukraine troops in Kursk, and Russia continued aerial campaigns over civilian populations. So there's still a lot of stuff to cover, and they've taken a baby step, is what I want to say. So they're getting there. So basically, the former CIA Moscow station chief, Dan Hoffman, he did an interview and he said that Putin doesn't share Trump's abhorrence of war. At this point, there's no indication that he's going to do anything else but negotiate with an eye towards ensuring Ukraine can't deter future Russian attacks. So if Dan Hoffman was so good at his job, Trump would have put him in the cabinet again. So he's a former CIA Moscow station chief. As we know, Trump had a lot of bad apples in his party last time. So I don't believe anything, especially if they was involved with the CIA in any form. As we know from the Kennedy files, those dirty dogs. Joe Biden's name's in there. I read it. Kennedy called him a traitor to the United States. Interesting, huh? Still a traitor. Now, next subject, astronauts coming back to Earth. Let's cover that real quick. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams had been in the International Space Station since June of 2024. Their mission was only scheduled to last 1 week. 1 week. Boeing sent them up, which if you're getting on anything that says Boeing on it, you are at your own risk, just so everyone knows. Boeing, no. Not doing nothing with Boeing. It was their first astronaut flight. Success. After the spacecraft encountered technical issues, NASA determined it unsafe for it to arrive back to Earth with the astronauts on board. Wilmore and Williams remained stuck in the International Space Station for months. Now, the liberals are going, they weren't stuck. They could have returned home at any time they wanted. There was a craft up there. They could have just jumped out into space and climbed in it and came home. But I'll tell you what, when you listen to the astronauts speak when they got back, you could tell they were stuck, that they were extremely happy that Elon Musk rescued them from space. Yeah, they did. We'll go over it, Colin. They did say something about that. So the Wilmore Williams and Crew 9, the commander Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov made their return to Earth Tuesday with the splashdown off the coast of Florida in the Gulf of America. CNN wouldn't say Gulf of America when they were talking about it. They kept saying off the coast of Tallahassee. Well, guess what? Tallahassee's inland. There's not even a coast in Tallahassee. They refused to say Gulf of America. Is ridiculous.
Because it's ridiculous to say. Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
Tallahassee doesn't have a coast. You gotta drive like an hour and a half to get to the ocean from Tallahassee.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nobody's calling this the Gulf of America. Like I refuse. I refuse. I refuse.
Gulf of America.
I refuse. I don't care. I am not falling into this foolishness.
You can call it the Gulf of Mexico once you get past like Corpus Christi. When you get to Corpus Christi and below, then you can call it the Gulf of Mexico. But Corpus Christi north, Gulf of America. That's my border that I just drew.
Mm-mm.
That's it. It's the border. I mean, if you go like in between, like Florida and Florida, like Miami and Cuba, you can call it the Gulf of Cuba if you want. But it's the Gulf of America. It says it on the map. Google certified it. Colin says he's going to call everything the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America Ocean on the Atlantic side. That's what we'll call it. The Atlantic Gulf of America. The Atlantic Ocean of America. There you go. Or the Pacific Ocean of America. Mex America. We got Mex America. We could have Port America. Can America. Don't, hey, you're going to get Rob mad, Colin. Can America. We can't have Can America. But going on, billionaire and tech titan Elon Musk shared his congratulations to SpaceX and NASA following the rescue of 2 astronauts stranded at the International Space Station for roughly the past 9 months. That was supposed to take a week. He said, thanks to the excellent work of the SpaceX team working with NASA and the astronauts that are safely home, and congratulations to the SpaceX NASA teams for their excellent work. He also offered a huge note of appreciation to Donald Trump for prioritizing and expediting the return. Wilmore and Williams' return became a political issue for the Trump administration. So they're arguing about that. So I'm not. I think everything the liberals do is political, but I don't know why you would leave like a team of astronauts up in space to make a political issue. But I've seen Biden administration do all kinds of dumb shit. They let 13 American soldiers get killed in Afghanistan. So why not some astronauts? But they're saying it was for political reasons. So shortly after taking office, Trump asked Musk to bring home the astronauts who he had said was abandoned by the Biden administration, which the liberals can say whatever they want. It does look like they abandoned those people up there. Like, I feel like if Biden could have swallowed his pride for 5 minutes and called up Elon Musk and said, hey, buddy, I know we don't really like each other right now, but you got a space shuttle. And I need somebody to go up and get these people out of space. It would really help my polling that I suck at right now. But no, they would rather, this is the whole liberal thing. They would rather go down sinking than ask for conservative help. This is such a huge issue. So Trump also blasted Biden for not acting sooner. He was quoted to saying, I have just asked Elon Musk and SpaceX to go get the 2 brave astronauts who have been virtually abandoned in space by the Biden administration. They have been waiting for many months on the space station. Elon will soon be on his way. Hopefully all will be safe. Good luck, Elon. Biden is such a horrible astronaut. No, he's not as good of an astronaut as me. I probably am related to Donald Trump somewhere. We think a lot of the same. Shauna, do you think so? I might be a descendant of Donald Trump. If they put me in front of a microphone with millions and millions of people watching all over the world, the most ridiculous things would come out of my mouth. I would be way worse than Trump. So let's go back to the liberal meltdown. That's it for my space story. It'll probably be the only space story I ever do. But I felt like I should probably let people know what really happened. Colin says I'm not retarded. Shauna, look, I just told you the word is making a comeback. Retarded is making a comeback. It's no longer.
I just feel like every day you choose to figure out how more extreme you can be to get canceled. And that's just what I believe at this point.
I'm just saying, man. I first saw it on Facebook. I was scrolling through, videos and stuff on Facebook, and this old commercial from the 80s came up, and it was this special needs person. And when you look at him, you couldn't tell that there was anything wrong with them. It was a girl, and she started talking, and she said something like, "I bet you thought I wasn't retarded," and I was like, "Well, no, I didn't," but she was advertising for some organization, and it was like the Association of Retarded Children or something like that. I was like, how could they? Did we really call stuff that back then in the 80s? Like that's how we talked about things. And like we've come so far from using like derogatory words like that to where we are now, to where if you accidentally on TV say retarded, you're like,
well, I just always find it funny that the Democrats always have been screaming this entire time, especially since the election, the free of speech. And it's just, you look at the climate of our country, and it's like you can't even express yourself about anything without being labeled something terrible. So,
see, I watched the movie The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville in it, and it's about special needs people, and they say it's okay to say that word. I'm probably going to get canceled for this whole segment. I'll guarantee it. But I'm already canceled, so it don't matter. Already canceled. Can't say retarded. Colin, quit gaslighting me, man. Colin's trying to gaslight me, Shauna. He said making fun of somebody's disabilities is retarded. I'm telling you, the word's making a comeback. Just like I
agree.
I just heard I had a left-wing employee use that word yesterday, like a leftist. I was like in shock. I'm like, are you even allowed to say that? What would Maxine Waters say to you right now if she heard what came out of your mouth? But I can't say stuff like that at work because it gets me in trouble. I have to kind of censor myself at work because my boss don't. Yeah. I got to stay inside a boundary sometimes. So next we got. So Trump's trying to do all this deporting people, which is fantastic. I think Tom Homan's doing a fantastic job. He's just knocking it out of the park. I'm not even going to say that, Colin, because I don't know what it means. I'm gonna have to do some research on that one. I feel like if I say it, people are gonna try to burn my house down or something. I don't know what it means. Shauna, can you Google that? In fact, fact check that. Anyway, the liberal district. What?
I want no parts of that. No, I'm not researching. I'm not Googling it.
We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it at work tomorrow. So liberal district court judges are trying to play president. They keep blocking Trump's deportations. They keep saying, oh, it's unconstitutional. Oh, they're civil rights. Bro, they're illegal immigrants that committed a crime by walking across our border illegally. Now, I saw a story. I don't remember what outlet put it on there, but they're like, oh, this couple's been here 30 years and they built this life. Guess what? It wasn't a secret that Donald Trump got elected president. He's been elected. He's been president for how many months? How many months have you had?
You didn't even before that.
Office.
But look, this is the thing. Let's just go back before that. What, you knew that there was a 50-50 chance of this man winning the election. Why did you not handle business? Hey, like the thing is, like people are so surprised to see the things that he's doing, and it's just like, at what point did he not say that he was going to do the things that he's doing? So it's just like, you knew that he was going to be doing mass deportations. That was one of his main talking points during the election. Yeah. Why did you not be like, okay, you know what? There's a 50% chance that this man might win. Let me at least just try to go and get my process started with becoming legal here so I don't get deported. I mean, any of that. And I know it's not an easy process for you just to you're a citizen. I get that, but my whole thing is that why weren't you trying to work on this so you wouldn't be in those groups of people that's happening to?
Right. It's just like what I've been saying.
You've been here for 30 years. Why are you not a citizen anyways?
They've had ample amount of time to go to an immigration office and get their papers so they can be legal.
I just don't get it, because it's like you've been here for 30 years. At this point, you're probably paying taxes on whatever, a home, a car, whatever it is. You're probably paying the taxes on it. So you're paying taxes on a country that you're not even a citizen of. What sense does that make? For 30 years?
Right. It's ridiculous. They got it.
You're helping from a country that you're not actually a part of. What sense does that make for you to walk around for 30 years and not do it?
I'm conflicted. Okay, so either Colin's trying to trick me or he says rabble rouser, which is the word that he used, means troublemaker. I hope that's true, because if I said something really derogatory, I'm going to get canceled more. But I trust Colin. He's 100%.
It's a noun. It's a noun. A person who speaks with the intention of inflaming the emotions of a crowd of people, typically for political reasons.
So they're a flamer. Did I just say something to get canceled again? This is like the cancel episode. But anyway, the district court judges need to get out of Trump's way. Trump's not paying attention to him anyway. He's basically saying, you guys are idiots. So, breaking news, Trump is redesigning the Rose Garden. He's probably going to make it the most beautiful rose garden we've ever seen. Okay, so one thing I want to bring to everybody's attention, if you're still watching, or if you have tuned out because I'm canceled, is I picked up on something this week that I feel like is happening. And I may be wrong and I may be right. I don't know. Only time will play out. But so Trump is basically trying to invalidate the pardons of every pardon Biden did that had, the J6 people, Biden's family, the whoever he pardoned that attacked Trump during his campaign. Now, the media is trying to paint this as Trump's weaponizing the DOJ to go after his political opponents, just like what they did to him. But if the evidence is there, you have to indict them. You can't just turn your head because, well, I don't want to make it look bad. Like if they committed a crime, they got to go to jail. But also, Trump pulled the security clearance of the 51 Russia collusion hoax dossier people. So I feel like with these moves that they've done, that I feel like Pam Bondi's probably going to start indicting people. That's just my theory, but I feel like something's coming. It needs to, because I haven't seen Pam Bondi do anything except do press conferences. So she needs to get off her ass and start indicting people. If there's crimes committed, indict them. If there's not crimes committed, then she needs to come out and make a statement to that effect and say, hey, crimes have been committed, or no crimes have been committed, one way or the other. We need to know. So as the economy turns around, this is on to a new segment. If the economy turns around, the stock markets are going to adjust later as people spend their savings back into the market. So I want everybody to understand that the prices of goods are going down. So that's going to create more buying power for people. When you have more buying power, chances are you're going to go invest back into the markets or buy more stuff. So everybody who has 401ks out there, especially the liberals that are using it as a political jab at Trump right now, because the S&P and the Dow are all down, even though it went up like 500 points today. One of them did. One of them went up 500 points today. But you just have to wait it out, because the setting's already made. We just have to wait for the indexes to catch up, and they will, because we're seeing it at the gas price. We're seeing all these prices start to go down. Interest rates going down, gas going down, electric bills going down. All these things are going down. The inflation's already down. So we're in a good spot. We're going to see that stock market go crazy in our favor here pretty soon for those of you 401k holders and other investment people. I don't want to just speak to the 401k people. Let me speak to the prestigious IRA people and the hedge fund people. Yeah, Colin, that's a good point. 10 years ago, it was at 1,100. Now where we're at. Dang, Colin, you just got called out, man. I feel like this is a military thing, maybe. I don't know. I might stay out of that one.
We listen and we don't judge. So
facts. Also, one of the last things, there was on my way home from work today. They were saying that somebody opened fire on the CIA headquarters today. So I haven't heard anything else about that. So I'm not real sure what happened there, but I'm gonna find out. And but it sounds like they got it under control. Not sure what the motive is or if it was what the deal is with that yet. Probably some crazy liberal. Also, watch out for Teslas on fire. Everybody's Colin, you just made that sound like you were like a Sesame Street character. Like, oh my gosh, it's my friend Cosmo. I feel like I'm watching a cartoon now. I'm not sure. Did I slip into an alternate reality? The Matrix. I'm in the Matrix with John Wick. But Teslas are on fire. Hopefully they catch all the idiots that are blowing them up and catching them on fire and shooting at them. It's lame. It's really lame. Like, these people are deliberately trying to sabotage someone's business. And on top of that, every single time they destroy a Tesla, guess what happens to insurance rates across the country? They go up. It's very simple. You're self-destructing your own paycheck. Unless you don't own cars or houses and don't rely on insurance.
Hey, this is a family-friendly show here. Let's show some decorum, people. No tongues out until after. It's okay. Let us finish.
You're wrong. This is my show, and you can do and say whatever you want on it.
Yeah, saying is fine. The tongues out is the no-no.
Yeah, but all I got to do is just click the "Not Made for Kids" button when I post it. And then you can rate it whatever you want. That means don't be snitching, Shauna, or if you find out what happens.
It's on live. They're saying it ways. It's not snitching when half of the world sees it.
You never know. He's a friend of Colin's. You never know.
Hey, man.
You never know.
Hey.
Colin, he's like the Tough Mudder champion. You know what a Tough Mudder is? It's like the Spartan races, but tougher. He's done like 100 of them. But that's our show for today. Everybody be safe. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be.
Bye, Mel. Come back. She's fun. I like her. Colin, make sure you bring her.
And we're out. Peace.